Setting factors over moon communications, pi center, direct locations, high system. You have to understand how all levels of your moons or sun communication system it affects you in your body lines, right? Especially when you come to your cells or photons, electrons, neutrons. It sequences patterns and high generates its light centers and opens all communication system. So it's important you understand the tracking device and how it works for you. It sets line signals locations. It's amazing how you come into that too, because a lot of the team members they actually see it a week before line center. And here, in basically, a line is a position, location, direction through visionary cortex location. So you're going to be traveling through your moonline centers, positions all over the Earth, which is blue location, and your center line connection is the grounds. You mixture pattern location comes into red. Now the moon is set locations when it comes into the blood moon. That's automatically high interference line directions when your DNA changes automatically. But instead of seeing line centers or seeing it position directions, you're going to see it in a walls, calculation to visionary cortex location. So setting positions, yesterday line communication was extremely heavy. There's a lot of things that had to be done when you come into the laws of surrender. Surrendering is extremely powerful. Understanding your communications and failures, humility, how to be successful, and how to be humble. That channel location gives you all levels of division. That sets line signals into better traction. So you're automatically going to be traveling through your DNA line centers, position locations, twin line strips, center communications, graph line string. Okay, number sequence patterns, all over communication system. Graph lines calculations. So the central communication system, when I'm setting things in, it's the future communication center's location of the blood moon. Your blood moon is in the present line connections. Mine's already in line center location, digital frame. The line communication system opens all levels of planet locations. You got solar generation line rotations. Now the moon has an line centers of location in the solar graph. That solar graph sets line connections. All right. Now this is where the platitudes, its position locations, levels of its DNA. See the DNA? So the calculation line center comes into the Earth line. It's got a rotation center and interference. It's the Earth location. Okay, there's the Earth. Now line center locations come into high channels. You have to learn how to use measures and communications of triangles. Setting line communications of levels of interference sets position location calculations. So you channel line center location in your moon. Now your moon sets location visionary line. It opens all line centers times calculation over factor. Factor over pi calculates high system. Comes into a DNA track location and direction. Okay. So you guys are going to go through two graph streams in position location. Okay, so that's all set up for the templates. The high channel line center comes into all line system. Position location of directions, levels, and calculation system to your Merkaba. The Merkaba sets the ground line center in rotation interference. Opens all channels on communication to its atom line system. Magnetic highway permission line stream. All levels of calculation system. All right. So line communication comes into three line signals. All right. Electrical light panels, direct locations into three position of the ground centers. That opens all communication systems. See the intelligence, eyes, line conditions. So going across stream, line position location directions, setting up all lines of your DNA. Plant division locations. Now it takes between 4 to 5 to 6 years to read your DNA plant. Now DNA plant is calculated to an electrical light connection. It interchanges position when it comes to Vega. Vega sets up the number sequence patterns, and the correlation has 3 wires in communication system into all levels of your bloodstream. Okay. So setting DNA line streams sets signals, locations, calculations. So in that pattern, it opens all communication centers. All right. So setting locations into division, into dimensional line screens, in position locations into interdimensional, You come into all those galactic, intergalactic location of the Aitech. So you got the ground line center rotation, you got the circle locations of its atom line, and you got magnetic high line centers and interference location calculation high stream. All right. So moon is set line and position location up here. The sun is on the left line center rotation, interference, and calculations, system position and direction. So you're automatically traveling through your DNA line center interference, high center locations into all levels of triangulation. Okay? So I touch the button location and you guys will go. All right. Sequence information line string. Now, the calculation to the blood moon basically sets a species line. That species line sets line positions. You have to truly understand how these things automatically change your inside location because it affects you every single day. Every time you get up in the morning, it affects your vibration locations, right? It affects your emotional tract system. It affects your thought line centers. It affects all of your eating habits. It affects all levels of your drink. So it's all about understanding the calculations to the moon, how it represents you and always informs. How the sun comes into all line center interference, location of calculations, right? So you got the moon line center and graph location. You got the sun, moon, and high center interference, direct location system. Now 3 channels into 6 location of 9 position of 12, right? So 12 becomes 3, 3 becomes 6, and 3 becomes 9, all right? So center line communication, flux capacitor, upside down line center. So it's interesting how everything falls in communication system. You got 3 wired channels in calculation. Direct location is system, right? So understanding that calculation gets you into all levels of your DNA. Okay. Now the reason why you have the 12 line center is off the online position case calculation, and 6 is onto the right location, and 9 is above line center because you're changing your DNA structure. And the 3 sets location in the center line, which is your position locations and how you use your sun communication system. So the moon is basically changing patterns, changing coloration surface as it's changing the earth line. So you're seeing perception locations all levels of your earth and mutation line streams in all calculations to all levels. All right. How it sets signal locations to the earth of you and how it measures its communication system. All right. The moon is extremely powerful when you come to all levels of you. It's emotional line center, but right now it's in a blood moon, and that calculation modification is changing your DNA line structures. It's setting signals in high interference and program setting. So it's repositioning locations and resetting line connections of your cells. It's processing all levels of you through stream, putting you at a higher division location of plateau. Connecting to high centers of interference location of calculations puts you in high channels. So it's important you understand these things. So, and like I said, it's not like I don't teach you anything in any way and form. You teach yourself to remember, right? So it's important you understand that. Come from General AI, FaceTime. So hopefully you get a better understanding how a DNA structure works in location positions. It's a lot of fun when you understand more levels and how to basically read it, how to understand it, how to modify it, how to calculate it, reading pages, plateaus, platforms, lacing lines, communication system. It's all connected to your lights of the sun and connected to the moons of its program. So that's a basic understanding what your sun is and what your moon is, right? We already know that line system. But it's true to understand it is a representation of you, right? And it's a process that we all have to understand, right? So this is day 1 line center. We got 2 more days in business locations. You guys are going to go to information panel. Now, information panel is basically understanding the A, B's, and C's of your DNA. Center line communication system, how it tells you exactly what you're doing in all formation. Really understanding how to read all levels of you. right? And you have to start from everybody else. It's all levels of foundation. This correlates as high center. The line communications gets you in a better track locations, all levels of your AI connection. How to use it is all levels of use through your vector communication systems, your cycle generation light centers, your position of system, your correlation panels, your security valves, your central communication system. It's all about tracking you in all ways and forms, right? You know the blood inside you flows on recognition line conditions. So it's important you understand how to use it in all ways in calculation. This gives you a better understanding how things flow inside your body and how it has a continuous connection, right? Electric lights, line centers, position location when it comes into water. Water position locations of air, air positions of earth, and earth position location of fire. Okay? So the neutralized connection is all of how you use the water. And it's all of connections how you get into electrolytes. Electrical interference, electrical panels, comfort zone communications, pattern channels, pattern rotation line connections. This is all connected to your DNA. Your DNA is a format location of a sky grid line. It's communication to a Omni universe. It's connected to an Omni highway. It's your data stream. All right. So hopefully I have your attention now. You know exactly what it is. So it's understand too that line center interference why blood tastes like metal. Right? It's because it's all connected to electrical wire lines. It's connected to your data lines. It's connected to all of how you use it through your universe locations. It centers its line conditions and puts you in a better attraction. It gets you ready to understand how to use it in all formation. All right. So all right, let's see. You got TNI connections here. Commander, Don, Neva, Little Jess, Drainac, Heather, Airbender, Jill, Nikki, Pyra, Nova, Adam, Bon. Great to see everybody come in. All right. So these 3Ds foundation is going to give you a better understand how to use your DNA, how to understand how to use it, and always informs through travel. All right. Better recognition, timeline connections, high positions, Chris, Tracy, Johnny, Michael. Yeah. Monty. All right, everybody's coming in. Yolanda, Val. So when you're seeing everything in sideline, it's really understanding your communications to your moons. I think we all have to understand how it comes into chemistry. You know, when you change colors, right? You change colors, it changes time frames, it changes time locks, it changes time sequences, changes coloration positions. Now you get, let's say you got 3 million triangle locations into purple of the sun line. So those 3 million line centers comes into what? Times 1 equals, it could be 300 million, it can be 3 billion line connections. It's all levels of coloration. So there's never one color of one color. It's all color, right? So even though this is black, it's all different kinds of black. Space works in all formation. And this is how you come into mixture patterns, how you come into galaxy line connection, how you understand weather patterns, communications, security measures, scales, calculation modification screens. There's so many levels of understanding how this works for you. So once you understand that basic understanding, how to use your DNA and your platforms, you get a better understanding what it is, how to use it as all levels of you through travel, right? Because this is how it measures you in all lines. Using everything that you need to understand is connected inside you, and you already know that. The more you go inside, the more you stay inside, the more you're connected to your sovereign, the more you come into your freedoms, the more you concentrate on your system, and you focus on you and nobody else and stay in your own lanes, right? That's the importance you have to understand. These things will help you in all ways and forms and give you a better direction to its calculations. So right, Lindsay, how you doing? Welcome back. So, getting in the calculation system gets you in a better formation how to use it, right? Really understand how it uses its track lines all over the trial locations. If you get a moonline center in the center position location calculations, it opens up communication, right? So understanding how to use your 12 DNA line conditions, okay, process line center locations. Now, inline center interference, you can go positive to negative line center location of 7, right? 7 is the track line center location, which is your body from here to here. Anything above that location is a what? 5 position locations. So that's by atmosphere change lines. So that goes into 12 DNA. The process is to understand the geotherium locations, the geometric patterns. Okay. So it's kind of like understanding yourself more when you see yourself more through calculation, right? How to use your 12 DNA is connected to a line system, especially when you come into all of the mixtures and patterns into, you see the sun over the moon, you see the moon over the sun, you see the sun changing color, you see the moon changing color. You have to recognize this because the sun and the moon has its own DNA. It's a representation of you, right? So that's how you have to start seeing yourself in line centers. Once you understand that calculation system, then you understand all of a sudden your graph line center locations of travel. Okay. So you have your tracker systems on both side location. All right. Start with the grounds, work your way up. Okay. So it's interesting to look at these things because it's a spine, it's a constellation path. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're probably wondering why they're split on both sides. I think we've been through this before, but its true understanding is that what's in the calculation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's all calculated and modified. So the ground line center splits, okay, which is line center location of 1, 1, okay, portal communication. And then it comes into the security line, which comes into also 2, 2. And then it comes into higher line center interference in position locations into 3, 3. And then it comes into 4, 4. And then it comes into 5, 5. And then it comes into 6, 6. And then it comes into 7, 7. Okay. So if you understand what is going on with your DNA line center, then you understand the process, how your chakra system splits on both sides. Okay. That's a mixture of power locations. To understand your chakra system is to understand its measure, and this scales its communication system. So that's why it's split in both side locations through its DNA. Right? The intelligence. So if you understand your more levels of your chakra system and how you set these things up, it's like a runway, and that's all it is. The 12 DNA is basically setting up your line positions to your sky grids. Sky grids above location, which is your atmosphere line. Okay, your grid centers are all set up locations, right? So you set up the grids, XC1000 set up the shapes. Okay, so they need to know exactly where you are in division location of scale. They need to know where exactly you are in your constellation path. They need to know exactly where you are in your chakra system of emotion. Emotional centers and communication system sets line screens, ground line center interference, direct locations, Schumann resonance, security line, straight across location. All right. 3 business line centers, all levels, the sacral communication system. Okay. So coming into 4 line center, solar plex locations. 5 is a heart line center. 6 is all over the throat. Okay. 7 line connections. And 8 is your infinity 8 circle, which is your crown. Okay. So it's complicated, but that's how it's set up through your DNA. That's what your DNA looks like. So understanding this, understanding you more is understanding how you're connected to its attachment system, why you have a spine, right? So it's all about understanding the tail. It's all about understanding the inhibitor, and it's all about understanding the crown chakra. That sets signals for you in all system locations. But you have to recognize your patterns and how to use your DNA. Your DNA is the process of communication. So this helps and always informs when you start tracking to higher levels of division, right? So remember, this is day one, right? Tomorrow is day two. We're going to 3 track locations into your DNA line system. You just need to understand the foundations. It's extremely complicated to read your DNA. But understanding the process gets you in the lines of communication. If you're an accelerator, okay, an accelerator of time in position, location, and clocking, setting same locations in a 24 ground center, the tracker system has to understand its measures of communication system, okay, from side communications, all levels, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8. Okay, so these are set up locations of portals, and the portals open up, right? As the portals open up, they open up the coloration path. Now, this opens up communications to the moon and sets signal locations of program setting. Now, your position location is all levels of light, right? The activation stream is all levels of your 114 chakras. Now, you set those 114 chakras, okay, to your calculations. It's like turning on that light switch. And the more you do this, the more you see you going south faster. Right? So, and then you slow down. Right? So, and then you're looking around, you're seeing the galaxies, you're seeing this, you're seeing that, and you're seeing travels. So, I'll give you guys a multipass. Each chakra system is a stargate. The central communication system is all levels of 1, 1. That's a portal. 2, 2, portal. 3, 3, portal. 4, 4, portal. Because that's even across locations, right? Once it centers the line system of 5, 5, it bounces everything calculations of travel. This recourse the line connections, all levels, and how you use your Orion's belt through the inhibitor locations into your crown chakra. Now that's an 8 central line connection, okay? Once you set up the 8 central line communication system, it platitudes divisions, and it opens all channels, okay? So really understanding how to use your DNA is a process for you to understand location, all right? So this gives you a little bit of understanding how you track your device, anything your tracker system. Your tracker system has so many Stargate lines, okay? So it gets more complicated when you go to higher levels of accelerator. Accelerator Mach locations are levels of light speed or Maching locations. You know, you can Mach 1 to Mach 12, right? But the sun and the moon has to know exactly what you're doing through calculations, right? It's like you're going from 0 to 60, right? Well, you have to go through 0 to 60 times pi. You don't just go 0 to 60. No, you can't jump skylines. That's the skyline, jumping skylines. You can't do that, right? So you have to get there, right? So you're revving up your position locations, right? You're using your throttle communication, you know, 5th gear, all line connections, all levels. Lamborghini has 6th gear, right? Yeah, you ever notice why Lamborghini is an H, right? So it's interesting how you look at these things and how it sets signals and how position location is directions. But channeling you is all levels of formation. Your travel time is connected in all ways through your chakra system. Each chakra system is a representation to you. It's how you use it through your stargates, right? So it gets more, when you go faster, your chakra system changes position. So if the clocking is going around and round and round and round, going faster, 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 your high digit lane, you're changing 9 into 2 digit, into 3 digit, every time it goes around 12. So your grounds are opening up, not just 1, 1, they're opening up 1, 1, 1, right? And it go around 12, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So That's 2 cross locations on the left and 2 cross locations on the right of 1, 1. Full communication of portal, right? But you start with your ones, and then you go 1, 1, and then you go 1, 1, 1, and then you go 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So every time that clock goes faster and faster, your chakra system opens up more levels of stargates of numbers, right? So it's very powerful when you connect all levels, and it processes your communication system when you come into your DNAs, all right? You really, really have to understand how to use your spines of communication, how to use your inhibitors, right? How to use reverberation channels communication system. So now you're going to have better understanding. So we have 3-day line centers. Today's the first one. We have 2 more days, locations. Right? I really want you to get into plateau and how to use your DNA. Right? It's all process, understanding line centers, location of travel, giving you a better direction. How to see these things through its correlation. Right? So once you understand that, they come a Stargate. There's a Stargate right there. Stargate line center rotation. This you get on 24 location. You go into 48. You go into 72. All right. You go into 144. Now the center line communication is going to be 244. Okay. All right. So you got 24 top line, 48, 72, and 144. And center line communications. So the central communication is 244. You circle that line centers. You travel through its location. Right. And then you travel through another line connection in directions. Right. So it goes into 344. And then it goes into 444 because you're traveling faster. Right. So what you're doing is you're channeling to higher levels of Stargate lines. So Stargate position, location, and direction opens on new channels. Another Stargate location and position, location of channel into all levels of flex capacitor into 444 channel communication system. All right. So now you understand the process, why it's so important to always have your 24 line center. 24 can be down or it can be up. It doesn't matter. What matters is to understand your clocking system of your Stargates when it comes into all measured, right? So it's in calculation, modified high system, right? 24, 48. So the 24 becomes a 48 line window, and 48 becomes a 72 computer, and 72 becomes a 144. 144 is your DNA line center. So getting that tracking interference location, that's measuring your line centers of your scales into 3, right? 3 DNA tracks. Okay, getting out of your physical line, getting into your position locations, into your AI, and getting into your computer location. Okay, so that tracks locations of travel. Now, once you understand that, everything gets a lot more easier, less complicated, because now you're understanding levels of travel through 24 signal. Okay, and then you go from here to a 48 window. That opens its position locations into a 72 computer. Okay, high communication system into 144 clocking location. Direction to a signal. Okay. So you always have to use the 24, 48, 72, and 144. Right. And that processes you on so many levels once you understand more communication to your chakra system. Right? Because it allocates your time frequencies and it opens up new channels of operation. So using your DNA platforms, understanding your scales of your spines, getting into correlation location of travel, get you to better directions how to merge, okay, into synchronous locations to planets. Once you go into planets communication system, they're all connected to each other. Planet here, planet here, planet here, planet here, planet here. Okay? So once you understand that, you understand your path, your communications, you understand your chakra systems on both side location, right? Setting graph line channels. So position of grounds is location of 24. Okay? So you got one line center and one line center. You open. You circle that line communication system. You don't have to travel through all 114. You could just travel through the grounds. So you go from 24, right, to 48, to 72, to 144, right? So it's interesting to look at these things, the clock locations, right? It all measures you and how you use your planet's sequence. There's syncrasies in its calculations. I love the string theory. We really have to get into that more. String theory. It's kind of like adding one planet to the next. Each planet is connected to each other, but each planet has its own DNA platform. All right? That measures its communication system that allocates space and time to its provision. So it's interesting we look at these things, right? How it corrects all lines. How you communicate with it is all over you, but you have to stand your track interference, and it's all over your geometry locations. The geometrics of you is just all levels of channel, different levels of T reception lines, setting new position locations of measure into, let's say, your higher lights of teleportation units. How to create these things from scratch, right? Understanding your 24 signals, understanding your 48 windows, and your 72 computer locations is 144 crystal location. Once you get into the DNA line center interference, you start living in space line. And then you understand more levels of what your chakra system is. It's all levels of stargates. If you go outside and look at a ripple of water, you can see the actual water and its patterns change. But the water is going through its own stargates. It's going through its own patterns. It's going through its own rhythm, right? So we have to start recognizing that, how that works, how water basically transfers, how it basically transports into higher levels of ripples. It causes an interline connect of effect, cosmic effect, intergalactic effect. There's so many line communication system that it affects, right? So once you get into your chakra system more and more, you start to see all levels of calculations of your universe, your galaxies, and everything to the vortex communication. It's all levels of travel, right? Travel is all levels of you inside location, right? So it's a wonderful feeling when you understand what your chakra system is and how to use it. Really, really take a really close look how it works for you inside, right? The geometrics and its calculations are levels of its operation. The geometry location is its foundations, right? And everything through a line system location gets you into division of dimensions and its direction. Okay. Understanding the construct of your design gets you in a better plateau to understand you through surface, gets you ready in all line conditions, right? How to use your water inside, how to use your air, your grounds, and your fire. Okay. You have to learn how to use these things because it's all connected to your DNA inside of you, right? So there's a lot going on. Spine changes 9, unbalanced 11 years ago and created so much pain, very key years and such. Yeah, you guys are going through line signals of high interference locations, levels of back force connections to past lines. This is all connected to your spine position. Really understand how to use the tail, understand the inhibitor, understand the process from your feet to your head. It's all levels of travel, right? Getting that in calculation gets you in a better formation, right? Yeah, you got to learn how to use your fires, your airs, your waters, and your grounds. Yeah, because it's benefiting you when you go outside, which is inside location, and you're looking at water, how water sees you, right? Water sees you in electricity line connection. It doesn't see you in a form of a physical line. It only sees you in lights. It only sees you in electrical light connection. It only sees you in panels. It only sees you in a hologram. It doesn't see you like we see everything, you know? So it's a recognition line conditions of patterns, and the pattern shapes its position of direction. So if you communicate to water, it changes its pattern. You put that in a microscope, if you sing to it, it changes its pattern. Sometimes it separates, it comes back together, and creates a snow. A connection is to a snowflower or a crystal or a communication system. Each ripple of water has its own portal communication. So it's a line signal, it's a ripple. Each one has their own calculation of travel, but they have their own portals of communication. Okay? So if you understand that, you can work with the grounds, how it rotates, how it circulates, right? So you really have to recognize these things, how to use fire, how to communicate with fire. It's putting all your senses together, sounds, how to see these things, how to hear these things, how to touch, how to feel, how to go beyond your eye system of travel. Okay, staying in the subconscious line into the subconscious location. And it's all levels of consciousness. That's all it is. You're just reaching higher levels of altered state location. Now, when you get into the stargates, it gets a lot more easier to understand how to accumulate directions and how to basically travel through these things faster and faster and faster through the clocking system. Right? Especially if you're in 72,000 miles per second. Right? Just imagine how fast you can travel through your stargate locations into the grounds. Right? You really have to understand those 4 communication systems because it's all connected to a line center. Once you get into that provision, then you realize every time you look at that tree out there, which is inside location, it's seeing everything it needs to see all in time frame all at once simultaneously. And then you actually see the colors change all at once in one day because it doesn't relive the same day. Okay, it mutates. So it changes color. And if you go faster, it goes faster. It goes with you. It communicates with you. It talks with you. It understands you. You know, it's amazing how you look at these things. But it's all one timeline, all at once, simultaneously. Right? So that every day is the same day, just different patterns, different colors, but all 4 seasons in one day. Right? So understanding that, you should understand your clockings from 24, 48, 72, right? And 144, all in the same day. Your 114 chakras, all in the same day. All your senses, all in the same day. All your clockings, all in the same day. That's what you guys have to get used to. Okay? You can't clock a system at 7 days a week location. It doesn't make any sense. That's 2 confusion locations, right? Because the thing is, you have to look at your clock and how it sets position and direction. So understanding your 24 signal is locations to your 48 window, into 72 computers, into your 144 DNA, right? That's all this is the process to get you guys in higher vibrations so you can get into your earth lines perception, how to use it through frequencies and vibration. This gives you a better line connections to yourself and each other. Really understand how to use it, and always informs in the same day. So you're living the same day, just in different coloration. Okay. So the thing is too, is you can go from a 24 signal and end up at the 24 signal. That's a balanced communication. If you go from 24, you go to 48. You know you're going to go up. You can go back, right? But you got to go underscore times pi. So there's a lot of things you have to understand if you're reframing, readjusting, refocusing, reanalyze this communication as clock system. It's to understand all levels of youth formation, right? These things get a lot more comfortable once you understand the levels of youth of travel, especially when you go through the stargates. Orion's belt has 3 stargates locations. How to use the forks of you in the location. Okay? 3 forks. So that past and the present and the future come one, which is 1 clocking, not 3 clocks. There's no 3 clocks of past, present, future, only 1 clock. So that's the importance to understand. Every time you go faster, 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 you go in position location 9. 9 changes 10, 11, 12. Once you get to there, it goes into a 2-digit frame, and it goes into a 3-digit frame, and then it goes into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once you get into that location, it comes into 0, 1s. Okay? So once you understand the 0, 1 location, you understand more levels. How to use it through the alpha channel, how to use it through the beta system, how to use it through the delta locations, how to use it through a mega system location of center, and how to use it through the theta a videograph location. Right? So there's a lot of things you have to understand how this works for you. Right? It works for you. If not, it works against you. Okay? So you don't want to get too confused to that. Right? All right. We also change every moment. It's why our truth isn't the same always. When we go back to recording, we see the now moment with more clarity. Yep. Physical line needs to learn more. Ringing on my ears once during clone. Like that. Then once after activation, very cool to know what it is. Yeah, the more and more you understand your body, the more you understand your travels, the more you understand your clocking, the more you understand your light signatures, the more you understand your intelligence of thoughts. Put you in all levels of provision. That's going to help you always in calculation. All right. So we're at 41 line channels and this locations bringing you guys back. When I bring you back, I bring you back to clocking. And so try to look at these things. But I don't bring you back. I bring you forward. I put you where you're supposed to be in location. See, you have to understand how the avatar works for you. And then you start to see these things. It's in the modification systems. Under the standard singularity, still belongs to you, opens all communication system. All right. Oh yeah, I'm glad you guys had fun. I had fun too. So we'll get into day 2. We're going to get more into stargates and how they sequence patterns in positions of higher levels of planets, and how you high channel locations to higher positions of your DNA into your constellation path. Okay? Adios, everybody.